All right, now to our next story. Right in our own backyard, there's a new high-tech facility that's fighting climate change. And this is a first-in-the-nation facility, and it's actually right in the San Joaquin County area. So tonight we have a special guest. We have ABC 10 anchor Laura Painter, who's really been working on this story. And really this facility, I mean, they're promising to take pollution out of the air, right?
Yes, Alex, a lot of big promises here. It's called direct air capture. And tonight I take you inside the new plant and talk with experts on the risks and rewards of this budding technology.
Climate change is the existential challenge and threat of our time.
Set in the rural flatlands of Tracy, Silicon Valley startup Heirloom launched what aims to be a game changer in the fight against climate change.
This is one important solution that can help get us all the way to net zero.
In other words, cutting greenhouse gas emissions to as close to zero as possible. One way to do that is by taking those harmful gases out of the air and putting it somewhere else. Heirloom says this facility in Tracy can remove and store as much as 1,000 tons of carbon dioxide a year. It's the first commercial facility of its kind in the U.S., and it's right here in San Joaquin County. It's called direct air capture. This technology has been compared to a time machine with promises of turning back the clock on climate change. While it's the first in the U.S., the International Energy Agency says there are at least 27 others around the world, with another 130 in the works.
To take carbon directly out of the air and store it permanently is an incredible opportunity, and I want to see more.
When it comes to effectiveness, experts say where you put a facility like this doesn't really matter.
The CO2 is just everywhere in the atmosphere, and if you take it out in any place, it eventually reduces it everywhere.
So here's how it works. These towers are filled with limestone, which acts like a sponge, soaking up the CO2 from the air. The CO2 is then eventually embedded into cement, which is then used in construction.
To be able to use something that is a waste product, essentially, that creates an enormous amount of harm, and to be able to repurpose it for a better use. First in the country.
But is it enough?
It's a little hard to take this project too seriously because it's so small.
Direct air capture requires a lot of energy, but experts say if done with and alongside renewable energy, like solar or wind, facilities like this could make a difference on a large scale.
The only way to even arguably do this reasonably is to use renewable energy, which I will say Heirloom is doing.
Heirloom admits this facility is small, and that's by design.
We're starting small, right? We have a long way to go in scaling up a lot of really important solutions to the climate crisis. Direct air capture is one of them.
There's not safety concerns with this particular technology in the way it's being used here. In other words, the carbon that is being pulled from the atmosphere is not being stored through pipelines underground, which some environmental activists have expressed concern about. This is actually being trucked to a facility and then embedded into cement. So it is a benign process.
U.S. Secretary of Energy Jennifer Granholm's referring to another similar process, carbon capture, which is causing concern among critics. They say storing the carbon is risky.
Carbon pipelines are very dangerous. There's a high risk of rupture. And if carbon dioxide is released in a pipeline rupture, you can be talking about dozens, hundreds of people being hurt or even killed within 20 minutes. And it's underregulated.
Critics worry about the long-term effects.
Is the storage really permanent, or is it leaking? And if it's leaking, what harms does that create? What does that do to the water? Does it leach up bad stuff from the ground?
Questions remain about the impacts on soil, water, and potential unintended consequences.
The main thing we need to do on climate is eliminate the use of fossil fuels. We know how to do that, but we aren't doing it fast enough. And anything that distracts us from that goal presents a grave moral hazard. This project does exactly that. This project distracts us.
And some experts worry carbon capture encourages more use of fossil fuels and the creation of greenhouse gases.
The question is sort of the end result. Did you actually end up removing more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere than you put into the atmosphere to make the process happen? And so if you're using a lot of energy to do this, and that energy comes from fossil fuels, you're screwing up.
And the goal is to have more facilities like this to continue to fight climate change across the country. Alex?
All right, Laura, thank you so much. And if you want to read more about this story and the future of it in our area, make sure you head to our website, abc10.com.